Hello everyone, welcome back to another video in the Let's Solve Tactics series. So last time we reached 1903. Let's see how far we can take it today. I will try to keep it around half hour length, this one at least, and yeah, let's see where we get to. Okay, so we have a pawn in game at our hands. It is black to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. So white is offering us a pawn by playing pawn to h4. Uh, so yeah, I guess if I don't take the pawn, then we have no winning chances for sure because white can, if he wants, take our pawn on g5. So what happens if I take the pawn? I think it's a counting problem. Who queens first? So if I take on h4, white plays g5, I go h3, white goes g6, I go h2, white goes g7, I go h1, white goes g8, check. Yeah, let's think about it again. So I take on h4, he goes g5, h3, g6, h2, g7, h1 queen, g6 queen check. Okay, and mm, that should be a draw. But if I don't take, and if I go, let's say, king to d5, then white can take, but white can also play h5. And upon h5, I'm able to stop the pawn, but uh, that'll win for white. So I need to take. Okay, makes sense. And now it's clear what to do. Oh, it's not clear what to do. Oh my god, that was terrible. Okay, so let's try this. So I guess, the idea is that I am inside the square with this move, and I can catch his pawn, but he cannot. Wow. So we start off with with me getting it wrong. So okay, let's continue. Okay, black to play again. Go ahead and yeah, pause if you would like. So what is happening here is white has played his king out to g2, which pins this knight. What else do I notice? White does have an extra piece in this position. They have two knights and a bishop, but I only have two bishops. Hmm. Hmm. Of course, the open H file. There could be some tactics also associated with the spin. Uh, hmm. Other than that, not really much else. So I noticed that rook h4 is possible. Rook takes h2 could be a move, and he'll be forced to take back with his king. But then after that, if rook h8 check and king back, not sure what my follow-up is. Rook h4 looks interesting. So rook h4 hitting the pawn on g4, hmm, but I'm not really threatening to take. So, but I would be threatening to double up on the h file. Not sure if that is correct. If I just take on f3, he takes back. Also not sure if that's leading to anything good. Okay, so nothing obvious so far. Let me continue looking at my candidates. Don't notice anything obvious. Rook to h3 I don't think is anything good. Rook to h4 looks interesting, but I'm not threatening to take on g4, so rook takes h2, king takes h2. All right, rook takes h2, king takes h2. I take the other knight. Okay, yeah, that's the point. Okay, yeah. Okay, and now it's testing us, and we have to be precise. Okay, my instinct is, of course, to take the bishop, but is there something better? If I take the bishop, then I threaten mate with rook h8 because the g3 square would be covered. But if I just go rook h8 right away, then he goes king g3 and attacks my bishop. I think I should take. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay. So black to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. Uh, okay. So the first idea that comes to mind really is a simplification idea of rook takes bishop check, more or less forcing him to take back, then bishop e4, and he's not able to protect the rook with his king thanks to my b3 pawn. So that looks correct. If he does not take on b1, then I already won a bishop, so that is good. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, this one is white to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. So I noticed that I'm attacking this knight once and it is protected once by the bishop. Other than that, this bishop out here is hanging, and maybe I can combine, and the bishop is guarding the knight, so maybe I can combine both these factors by playing a move like knight f4. Also my knight is attacked, not hanging, it's protected but it's attacked. So knight f4 attacks the bishop. If the bishop moves to, let's say, uh, I don't know where the bishop moves, but uh, let's say f5, I then can take the knight on c4. But okay, let's see. So knight c1 with the same idea could also be possible, right? So knight c1. So knight f4. Let's look at knight f4. Let's see what all black can do. A move like rook c8, attacking my bishop on c7. Then I can take his bishop. Knight takes d3. If he takes my bishop, then I have bishop takes c4, and I think I'm coming out ahead. So after knight f4, what if he plays knight e5, moving his knight out of the pin? But then I can go bishop d3 or knight d3, take on d3 twice and win a piece. At the end of all that, he does have rook c8, attacking my bishop on c7, which is actually trapped. Oh, so this one is interesting. So rook c8 is an idea for him. So knight f4, knight e5. If knight d3, bishop d3, rook c8, what can I do there? I have rook c7, no? Rook e7. Rook e7, king f7, king f8, rook d7. Yeah, and I'm holding on to the bishop for now, maybe. So knight f4. What about knight c1? I'm just wondering what's the difference between knight f4 and knight c1. Maybe there is something which I'm missing. Knight c1, knight e5. Isn't it the same thing? This one is a little tricky just because I cannot discern the difference between this move attacking the bishop as well as this move attacking the bishop. Let's look at other options. With my rook, I don't think I can move the rook yet because he will take my knight on e2. What happens if I take his knight right away? So bishop takes c4. He most probably has to take back, but then I don't see what my follow-up is. Just not sure. Knight f4. Knight c1. What all can he do? Knight c1. Hmm. Maybe he can try knight a3. Knight a3 attacking my bishop, but then I can take on d3 with the bishop, right? Knight f4. Also knight a3 might be possible. Knight b2 is possible. Bishop b4 is always possible, hitting my rook. But if bishop b2, I can always go rook e8 maybe, or rook e7. And the bishop is still hanging on d3. Really not understanding the difference. Okay, I'll try and be very thorough here. After knight f4, let's look at all of black's possible defensive tries. Moving the light squared bishop. If he goes to c2 with the bishop, I take the knight on c4. And after that, if he goes, rook c8 whenever he goes, I go rook e7 as we discussed. So after knight f4, bishop e4, I take the bishop, right? Bishop f5, I take the knight. Bishop g6, I can take the bishop followed by taking the knight. Bishop c2, I take the knight. Bishop e1, I take the bishop, I guess. So after knight f4, what if the knight moves somewhere? Where can it move? If he goes to a3, I can take the bishop with my bishop. So bishop takes d3. If he goes to b2, yeah, I can take either way on d3. If he goes to a5, it doesn't make much sense. I can just take on d3 with the, and either way. If he goes to e5, I think I again take on d3. I think either way. But isn't that true with knight c1 as well? Knight c1, bishop c2. Is knight d2 anything? Knight d2 for black. Knight c1, knight a3, knight b2. Not sure. What is the difference? Okay, I'm gonna play knight f4. If bishop takes f2, checking f2. I don't see what's happening. I'm gonna play knight f4 and see how this works. So far so good. Okay, so he attacks my rook, bishop immediately, as we pointed out. And initially I had thought rook e7, but now let's rethink. Rook e8 check is a possibility, trading rooks. So rook e8 check. He can take my rook. I can take his rook on e8. He can go to f8, king f8. Or he can even... Oh, but if I do that, then he can simply move his bishop. So rook e8 check, rook takes e8, bishop takes e8 now. his bishop can actually move. Bishop on d3 can move because the knight on c4 is suddenly not being attacked. So rook e7 should be correct, right? Or do I not need any of that and I simply take the bishop first? Bishop on d3, that is. Let's see. If knight takes d3, he can move his knight to a3 maybe. If he goes to a3, then I can trade rooks with rook e8 check and I'm good. I've won a piece. So moving the knight, I'm always threatening rook. Moving the knight to e5, I can take. If he takes on c7 after knight takes d3, then I can take on c4, and then he has bishop takes f2 check, king takes f2 or knight takes f2, and then he takes on c4. So after knight takes d3, but if rook e7 right away, right now, rook e7, if he goes king f8, king f8, rook d7, but then knight e5. Yeah, that definitely gets complicated because he gets knight e5 hitting my rook, right? I think so. I think that gets complicated. So then knight takes d3, rook takes c7. So we have both got a piece each. I can take on c4. So I get an extra piece. He can take on f2, take a pawn. And I can take back and he takes back. I'm gonna go with that. Not entirely sure. So far so good. I do think I should take the knight now. And this is okay. Very curious. What is the difference between knight f4 and knight c1? Well, the computer says knight c1 is only 0.68, whereas knight f4 is winning plus 3.8. So why on earth is knight c1 not as good? Because he has bishop f5. What is the point? And okay, if I take, what's happening? Rook c8. Okay. My bishop is trapped. Now if I come here, he goes here. And I cannot hold on to the bishop because this square is guarded by the f5 bishop. Wow, that is so deep. Wow, that is lovely. That is a really deep point. Huh. But knight f4, he cannot do the same thing, huh? Let's see. Knight f4, here, take. Don't I take? I take, yeah. Rook c8. Now, what's happening? Knight e6. Oh, knight e6. How does knight e6 even work? Because if rook e7, he has the exact same defense. The same thing, I cannot go to d7 thanks to the bishop. So knight e6 trying to protect the bishop, but if he takes, then I take, and if he now takes here, I have this check. Oh my god, this is so deep. Check, and he's getting mated. So knight e6 is the point of knight f4. So the difference is I have knight e6 in this line, which, uh, right here. So knight e6, and then once he takes my bishop on c7, I have this check. And this knight e6 resource is not available when my knight is on c1. So he can keep the material balance, I think. Sorry, not this way, by going bishop f5. And then rook c8, and he wins my bishop that is trapped. And there is no knight for me to put on e6 because the knight is not on f4. Wow. Oof, so deep. These problems are computer generated, but very deep. Okay, let's keep going. We got it right. Okay. Okay. White to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause. So he just captured my knight. Is there a reason I should not take his bishop? Hmm. Well, the only reason might be that he's going to promote one of his pawns if I do take. I don't know. But if I take and he goes g4, I'm well within the square of the pawn. And if I don't take, then he's going to retreat and he'll probably win. Pushing either pawn right now doesn't make sense. So I think I have to take, right? Yeah, I'm going to take. Okay, now we think. Okay, so he goes g4. I'm inside the square of the pawn right now. If he goes g3, then the square would be, this. Once the pawn is on g3, this is the square. And I would need to play king e3 in the, in that moment. But in the meantime, I have my own pawns to push. So I can go pawn to e5, pushing the pawn that's, further from the king. Now, is he within the square? Well, he might be, but the pawn on c4 takes away this square, the b5 square from his king. So, he probably has to take a weird route, go a5, b6, and so on towards e8. And if you see that route for the king takes him a5, b6, c7, d8. So it takes him 4 moves to control the e8 square. So if I go e5, and whenever he goes g3, I just, I will control the pawn by moving my king to e3. So e5, king a5, e6, king b6, e7. I'm queening the next move. So that is correct. Yep, control, and we win. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, white to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause. First thing I notice is he's letting me open the H file possibly by capturing with check. That's very tempting. Also queen H5 check is available. Material wise, we are doing very, very poorly. I think we are 2 pieces down in this position. So yeah. So taking on G5 with the pawn is a candidate. Taking on G5 with the bishop also is a candidate. Queen H5 also is a candidate. And I feel that we should be playing for mate, maybe, using our H file pressure. So Hg5 check. Now his king has to move, and he can go to g6 or g8. If he goes to g6, what do I have there? Queen h5 is possible, or queen d3 might be possible. If queen d3, he can run to f7 maybe. So queen h5 looks more dangerous. So hg5 check, king g6, queen h5 check. King f5 is forced, and there I have what do I have? I have pawn to g6 check, discovered check, that is. He can go to f6. I may be going in the wrong direction. Let's see. So after king f5, where can the king go? In that position, the king can only go to e4. So okay. What if I go queen to, not queen, what if I go pawn to g4 check? Pawn to g4 check. Now he has to go to, oh, he can go to e4 or f5, e5. Okay. Or am I wrong? I'm wrong. Yeah, he can go to e4. So pawn to g4 check forces king e4. But by pushing the pawn to g4, I've sort of locked out my own king, sorry, my queen, from attacking the king. I can go to g6, but then he can block. I can also go pawn to f3 check. Not sure if I'm on the right track or not. What if queen h5 first? Let's quickly look at that. Queen h5 does allow bishop h6, so already it doesn't look as good. Now if I take on h6, he takes back, no follow-up. So pawn takes bishop has to be correct. Pawn takes bishop. If he goes to g8, let's quickly eliminate that maybe, if we can. If he goes to g8, I have options, I would say. Rook h8 might be winning. Rook h8 check. If he goes to f7, then queen h5 check maybe. Queen h5 check. And then he goes to e7. Okay. Let's look at it again. Okay, I have not found a clear solution. So h takes g5 check. Now king g8 or king g6. King g6 is probable, so let's look at that. Uh, King g6. Now he can go to, from g6 he can go to uh, f5 or f7. So queen h5 is possible, queen d3 is possible. If queen d3 check, if queen d3 check, king f7 or rook f5. That does give him an extra option. Okay, I don't like that. Okay, so after king g6, queen h5 check. King f5 is forced. There, I thought g6 check, but then he has, what all does he have? He has king to e4 or king to f6. If king to f6, I'm just now realizing I have bishop to g5. Yeah, bishop to g5 check at a minimum. Okay, so king f6 is not good. So after g6 check, he has to go to e4. So if king e4, then maybe pawn to f3 check, forcing the king to go to d3. And there I may have, rook d1 check, and good things are happening. So I need not rook d1 check, king c4. Yeah, I'm having the king in a, yeah, the king has run all the way to d3. That has to be pretty nice. So let's look at king g8. After h takes g5, king g8. Now I was thinking, yeah, that we could probably lock him in with pawn to g6. If pawn to g6, I'm trying to, deliver some kind of mate on the h file and prevent him from coming up to f7. So pawn to g6, but it's a quiet move, so I don't like that as much. Any other options after king g8? Queen h5 is possible. Rook g8 as rook h8, as I pointed out earlier, is also possible. But rook h8, I think, allows him to escape via f7 and e7 and so on, which I don't like. So maybe queen h5 after king g8. Queen h5. Am I threatening anything? I'm not really threatening queen h8, but I am threatening g6 followed by queen h8. And in that position, if he goes g6 himself, then queen h7 is mate. That looks good. I'm going to take on h5 with the g5, sorry, with the pawn, and then think. Any other moves that I might be missing? Taking on g5 with the bishop is nothing. Yeah. So far so good. Now, here is the key, I guess. Queen h5 is possible or g6 is possible. Those are, I think, main candidates for me. I don't think rook h8 and king f7 work. So if queen h5, is there a threat? g6 actually creates a threat, so I like g6 more. Because g6 threatens rook h8 followed by queen h5 and queen h7 mate. So g6 might force knight f6. But if g6, knight f6, am I mating him somehow? Hmm. G6, knight f6, rook h8, king h8. Queen f3, threatening queen h3. Very slow move, but don't know if he has a defense. Queen h5 right here. Queen h5 right here is possible, but what can he do then? What if he goes knight f6 himself? Then queen h8 will not lead to anything. Queen h7, king f7, g6 check, king e8. That's also not, I'm not mating him. g6 seems like it should be the move, but it's such a, it's a slow move. But I feel knight f6 might be forced. Any other moves he can try? Rook e8, does it work? No, because I still have rook h8. So g6, knight f6. Now, how do I follow up after that? G6, knight f6. Any other moves? Any other moves right now? Let's see. Queen d3. Queen d3. What's my threat? I don't see a threat. Queen h5 also, I don't see a threat. Queen h5, the threat could be to play g6. So maybe queen e8 after queen h5. Yeah, that could be annoying. But then I play g6 and probably winning. Queen h5, he cannot play g6. Yeah, let's look at that. This is an important moment. Queen h5. Let's look at all his defensive resources. If he takes on g5, I'm happy. I can take back. If he goes knight f6, then I can take on f6, and he takes back, and there is no mate. But after, if I play g6 instead of queen h5, and he goes knight f6, where is my mate? Rook h8, king h8, queen f3 maybe, but that's so slow. Does he really not have time to do anything there? I don't know. Really not sure. But g6, knight f6, if I don't have a clear follow-up, then he's defending. g6, knight f6, queen f3 with, the threat of queen h3. How does he defend? I'm not sure. The king cannot move. Moving rook e8, I still play queen h3. Okay, not sure. I'm gonna play g6. Let's see what happens. Okay, incorrect. Let's look at the solution because I have no idea. Okay, queen h5 is correct apparently, and that's where the problem ends. Okay, I did not. I was not sure how this is immediately winning. I guess, yeah, I thought, yeah, he has to play knight f6. But then, am I winning after that? Queen f6. And now I just castle queenside. That's what the computer says. Okay. Okay, and g6 is not winning because g6, rook f5. Rook f5 is a move. Huh, didn't see that. Even knight f6 apparently is a move. And here I thought, yeah, something like queen f3. He plays e5, taking control of the h3 square. Okay. I guess the same resource exists after this as well. Or he has this. And if this, then I'm not actually threatening anything. Okay. Well, fine. So we got a lot, a lot of problems wrong this session. Let's do one more and then we'll call it good. Uh, okay. White to move. And go ahead if you would like to pause your video. Hmm. Huh. So what's happening in this position? A lot of pieces hanging. My queen is attacked by his queen. My knight is attacked by his queen. I'm attacking his knight is attacking my queen. I'm attacking his bishop. So oh, a lot going on. Okay. Hmm. I do notice something of significance, which is my queen is looking at the rook. So that's useful. So maybe knight f5 check. Knight f5 check. If he takes, I take back. And if he doesn't take, he goes somewhere and I take the rook. That's, I think, solves the problem of my queen. If I just take his, also solve the problem of my knight. If I just take his bishop, then he can take my knight. So that looks like it should be correct. Okay, and he decides to give up his queen. Okay, I will stop it right there. Not a very good session in terms of accuracy. And clearly, as the problems are getting, as we are moving higher up the uh, rating scale, it'll get tougher. So, yeah, no excuses. We are just being challenged. Okay, so yeah, hopefully you enjoyed my, struggles against the tactics trainer. And if you like the video, please like and, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you're watching this for the first time. Yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Oops.